Keep going. There we go. Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, in front of the class while the cool kids there. How's your afternoon been going, Aaron?
Good. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah?
We should have time for all of it all day. Yeah.
I know. You only do so much.
Yeah. Very good topics.
I'm thinking, like, what did I think the last session was like because you're doing the legal talk? People like to stay all day for this. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer.
I know, that's crazy. You're a lawyer.
In like 2 weeks, I'm going to hit my second year anniversary of having a bar license.
That's crazy.
It is. They admitted me to the club, and they haven't kicked me out yet.
That's crazy.
Really
So how long does it take to get one? To be part of it?
You go to the law school. Then you got to take the bar. It's only offered twice a year.
Okay.
And I took the bar at the end of July. I got my results in October.
Okay. So you have to wait that.
Yeah, because I have to grade the essays, and so it takes a while. And then you have to pass character and fitness, which is like the biggest background check on yourself.
Okay.
So depending on how fast they can process that for your application, and if there's pieces missing, and you gotta go chase stuff down, and you have to chase down, you have to go back. If you're at least 31, you have to go back 10 years of your life. Or what is it? Yeah, or you have to go back the last 10 years or since you were 21, whatever's less. And then, yeah, every place you've lived, every job you've had, including like internships. So I had like 23 jobs in 10 years, including all my internships for school. All those, every traffic ticket, every encounter with the police where there's a police report with your name on it, you have to run it down. You need legal references. You need character references. My application was about 50 pages. And then they have to go to the committee. They have to sign off on it. And then if you get through, then you get admitted, and you can either do that because you can actually do like a formal ceremony with the Supreme Court, and it's fancy, or you can do it by mail.
Okay.
I did it by mail. Like
Yeah, you're like.
I don't care.
Cool.
Like I paid my money. Yeah, the only reason I would have done it is if it happened to be scheduled a week when my parents were visiting, then they would have wanted to see it.
Yeah, that would be good.
And then I would have been like their shit child and been like, okay, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it in my Starfleet dress uniform. And they would have rolled their eyes and said whatever. So, gotta love them.
Yeah.
I do not have timepiece in this room. Okay. Very strange. Give it a few more minutes for people who are going to the restroom or whatever.
card?
Of course I do.
I probably have one at work somewhere.
I almost never leave the house without it.
That's for the legal side of it.
Yeah.
People have asked before, and I'm thinking, like, why did I ask you already?
Yeah, your Thursday night meeting.
Yeah, I'm like, why haven't I done that?
No, I would be happy to be on
So
your.
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. All right, let's get started. You got the rule of 2 feet. People can wander in if they feel like it. So, welcome the few, the dedicated, the stick it out the whole day. I hope you all had a fabulous Phoenix. I know I enjoyed myself. So, we're all here to talk about the horror stories that have happened in social media, at least from a legal perspective, and how hopefully you guys don't have to repeat their mistakes. How does that work? There's my button. All right. My name is Ruth Carter. I am a licensed attorney in Arizona. That still boggles my mind that they gave me a license. I own my own law practice in Phoenix, and I focus on business contracts, intellectual property, social media law, flash mob law. Basically, I want to be a professional geek. I have a law firm for it. So there's my Twitter handle if you want to tweet nice things about me. I always appreciate it. FYI, this is the horse out in front of the courthouse downtown. When you climb it, you get in trouble. It's not a social media horror story, but just so you know, don't climb the horse. There's no signs that don't climb the horse, but don't climb the horse. I read a couple of books. First book was actually written for you guys. Legal Side of Blogging, How Not to Get Sued, Fired, Arrested, or Killed. I've been blogging since 2010. I write the Undeniable Ruth every week. The law firm also has its own blog. And I'm friends with people like the Evo Terras and Tyler Hurst of the world who like to spout their mouths off, and I do too. And I started really wondering how much can I say before I get in trouble, and so I started really digging into that. And I led to a bunch of blog posts and some other papers for school, and I was like, why not throw it all together and put it out as a book? So that's on Amazon for anyone who wants a book in English, not legalese that I think is crap, on what you can and can't do with a blog. For anyone who cares, wow, that is an awful picture of my second book cover. You can't even see the whole thing. My second book is actually called Flash Mob Law, not just law, so that would be awesome, because I'm one of 2 flash mob attorneys in the country, so I wrote a book about it. All right. Now, every time I do a talk, I have to give a disclaimer. I am an attorney. However, I am not your attorney. I am here to provide generalized legal information, which is basically enough to make you very, very dangerous. I am not giving you legal advice today, so do not walk out here saying, my lawyer said, no, I am not your lawyer. Until you pay me, I am not your lawyer. I am just giving you information. What you do with it is your choice, but when in doubt, consult an attorney. All right, so I told you a little bit about my background in social media. Also, I'm involved in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, YouTube. And I spend a lot of time just watching what people are doing. And because I realized, probably a lot of you guys were the early adopters of whenever there was a new social media tool, a lot of you know a lot about your P's and Q's. But then people who aren't early adopters see what you're doing and how it's effective, and they all go, we need to be on social media! And they jump on it, and they have no idea what they're doing. Fuck it up. Oh, by the way, I swear, so that's a problem. There's the door. So I spend a decent amount of time watching what are people doing wrong, with the goal of hoping, let's teach people how to fix it. So a common question I ask when I do social media law talks is I ask business owners, where do you get the images for your blog posts? Can you guess what the #1 answer is? Thank you. And I cringe and I go, no! That is where you go to commit copyright infringement. Yeah, today I teach about Creative Commons. So that's kind of how I got into social media and watching. And so today I have 10 short stories to tell you about how people have done it wrong, and hopefully give you some easy lessons to remember on how you can avoid their fate. So let's start with Shay Allen. Shay Allen was a TV reporter. And apparently she was encouraged to be involved in social media and blogging through her work. And she decided to do kind of like a tongue-in-cheek blog post about 10 things you didn't know about me as a news reporter. And these were 2 of the things she said. If you ramble and I deem you unnecessary for my story, I'll stop recording, but I'll let you think otherwise. And she also said, I've stolen mail and then put it back. Apparently that's, if a news reporter is wondering if they have the right address, they may open the mailbox to verify the ad, see if the name that the person they're looking for matches. Unfortunately, touching a mailbox apparently is a federal crime. And she, these are 2 of her 10. She got fired. And it was, a social media blow up for about 24 hours before we moved on to the next thing. And a lot of people were saying, well, First Amendment lets her say whatever she wants. It's like, okay, no. First Amendment allows you to say a lot of things. Now, of course, you can't yell fire in a theater, things like that. But First Amendment is not going to protect your ass most of the time. It will let you speak without getting arrested, but it's not going to save you from getting fired, especially if you are an at-will employee, where you can be fired for any reason or no reason at all, as long as that reason is not in and of itself illegal. So the lesson from the Shay Allen's story is, hey, I pushed the button. First Amendment may not protect you against the consequences of your statements. Just because it is legal for you to say does not mean you won't fuck yourself over in another way. True. Moving on, Crystal Cox. I love this story on so many levels. I've been talking about her for years. She is an investigative blogger, according to her. Lives in Montana. I have no idea what an investigative blogger is, but she claims to be one. And she writes posts about various people, and I think she's trying to call them out on their misdeeds. And she wrote a blog post about a bankruptcy attorney who lives in Oregon. He claimed that what she was saying about him was a lie. So what do you do when you think someone's lying about you? You sue them for defamation. Unless you're the oatmeal and you write a cool comment about them. But everybody else sues for defamation. And so he did. And Crystal, did some research and looked at the defamation law. Now, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to social media and the internet is most of the laws that apply are state level laws. So she looked up she lives in Montana, she looked up the Montana law about defamation. And she found a really good defense for why what she said was legit. Goes to court, says, represented herself, big mistake, and said, yes, I made this statement, but it's okay because the law says X. Remember, this case took place in Oregon. The Oregon judge went, what are you talking about, ma'am? This is Oregon. Oregon's defamation law applies, not Montana. And so the defense that worked under the Montana law was not available under the Oregon law. She lost and was ordered to pay the guy $2.5 million for a blog post. That's a lot of money for a blog post. Now, had she represented her, had she hired a lawyer, the lawyer would have said, Oregon law applies. So your lesson in the Crystal Cox story is, do your research, know which law applies. When it comes to blogging, if the law isn't what state were you sitting in when you typed it, it's where is the person living who you injured. Think of it, to put it into real world for us, if you're standing in Yuma and you shoot a gun in the direction of California and you kill somebody in California, which police department is going to arrest you, Arizona or California? California, because that's where you committed the crime, in California, even though you were standing in Arizona when you did it. Same thing happens in internet world. It's not where your ass was sitting when you were typing. It's where the person was injured. Sometimes, in these cases, something that's interesting is that people will claim to have a stake, not based on where people were standing, but where servers were. If we're dealing with if the site is claiming a problem, we're going to get to a story about that. So sometimes you have to not just look at, what does my state say, but if I'm talking about someone who lives somewhere else, what does their law say? And sometimes if there's a company involved, it's where's that company based out of, or if the website, where is that server located? So it may be 4 different laws you may have to look up, which is why lawyers make money, because we do that for you. So that's the Crystal Cox situation. Yeah, one blog post, $2.5 million. Elliot Bloomberg. I like this this is an ongoing case. Elliot Bloomberg lived in California. I still lives in California. Hired a lawyer to represent him in a case, and he was not happy with his lawyer, and so he fired him. What is he supposed to do? And he went on a review site called ComplaintReport.com. It's similar to Yelp, but it's, I guess, instead of Yelp, it's just reviews, complaints is everything's bad. And he made a negative post about the lawyer he fired. Okay. He decided to call the lawyer a fraud in his negative review. Unfortunately for him, in California, which is where he and the lawyer were living, fraud is a crime. He accused the guy of committing a crime, which, unless the lawyer actually committed a crime, he told a lie about the lawyer. So the lawyer sued him, or is suing him for defamation. And Elliot, being just Joe normal average, said, went to the judge, tried to get the case thrown out by saying, Your Honor, I know I called him a fraud, but everyone knows that when you say that on a review site, I'm not claiming that they committed the crime. I'm saying I'm not happy. And the judge went, oh, no. The law doesn't care about what you meant. The law cares about what you actually said. So this case has been ongoing. I do not know why they haven't settled yet, but unless this ex-client can prove that the lawyer committed a crime, he's losing. So, maybe that could be another post equals 2.5 million. We're going to see they're due back in court this month, so we'll see what happens. So, your takeaway lesson is, don't accuse someone of committing a crime unless you can prove it. This also applies to the phrase, in my opinion, will never save your ass. If you say, in my opinion, my neighbor's a pedophile, unless you can actually prove that your neighbor's a pedophile, you're in big trouble. Now, there's ways you can work with it. You can say, I get a creepy vibe from my neighbor, and I don't know why there are tons of kids around him because he doesn't have any children. That's a statement of fact. That's an observation versus my neighbor's a pedophile. Two very different states. Same idea, but words matter. So, if you take away nothing from this presentation, think before you post. So that's there's the clip notes. You want them 2 feet. You log 2 feet out. Think before you post. All right. That's it. Oh, Shashank Tripathi. Did I say his name right? We all know this guy. He's the Hurricane Sandy fake tweet guy who was saying, power's shutting down, not Wall Street, the trading floor is flooded, craziness. Like this is Hurricane Sandy. This is like not a natural. This is like, a natural disaster. Why the fuck would you tweet fake stuff? And there's actually a district attorney who was calling for him to be charged with basically doing the internet equivalent of yelling fire in a theater and causing panic. As far as I know, he was never charged. I don't think a charge like that would ever really work, because if you yell fire in a theater, the people in the theater are going to panic. If you tweet something that is the equivalent of yelling fire in a theater, we're all going to go verify it first and realize, dude, you're full of shit. And you're not going to cause panic via Twitter, probably. I think it's just a hard leap to make. Now, this was the interesting thing about this situation, is that the guy got unmasked really fast. He had an anonymous handle. He used his own picture in his avatar. A reporter was able to find the original where he was tagged by name, which is how they found out that he was like someone's campaign manager and got fired. So, your takeaway lesson from this guy is, if you want to remain anonymous, protect your identity. I actually have a blogger friend who's a legal blogger who does this. He is I'm working on my 3rd book right now. He's a contributing author. I have no idea what his real name is. I pieced together what city he lives in, what type of law he practices, that he's married, and that he likes scotch and Cheez-Its. That's all I know about the guy, based on his tweets. He has a separate email address just for his anonymous tweeting and anonymous blogging. And his picture is of a bottle of scotch, of Johnny Walker, I believe. So yeah, he takes steps to protect his identity, and he's freaked out all the time that he's going to be unmasked. But he takes steps, and a part of my contract with him, which is funny, his name is the Namby-Pamby, so we had to sign the contract for the book as the Namby-Pamby. He couldn't use his real name. And part of our contract says if I ever figure out what his real identity is, I will be obligated to protect it too. So, you want to be anonymous, you have to take steps. Don't use your real picture. Don't use your real email address, because in most cases, if a social media site gets a court order saying tell us who this person is, they're just going to cough up your information.
And don't use pictures with your own metadata.
Yeah, and if you really want to protect yourself, don't even post from your own IP address. Go to Starbucks. Go to a shared place, because they can, you can always trace it back to the source, but you can make it harder to be found. So the more absurd you're going to be, the more steps you're going to take to protect yourself. All right. Oh, this one's great. Turner Barr. This happened this spring, this summer. Turner Barr started this awesome video blog called Around the World in 80 Jobs. He travels around the world and he works from place to place, and he makes videos and blogs about his travels. It's really cool. It's really fun. And he's like, I think he started out that he bought a plane ticket, like a one-way ticket to South Africa, and he's been traveling ever since. He basically got shut down this summer because Adecco, which is an employment agency, hired a marketing company that came up with the idea that they should start a contest called Around the World in 80 Jobs, where people would sign up on this contest, and if they won, they would get to travel the world working from place to place. So basically, it sounds like the marketing company saw Turner's blog and ripped it off. The marketing company / Adecco registered the trademark for Around the World in 80 Jobs. The second they did that, they got coast-to-coast exclusive rights to use that trademark. Which, if Turner had just opened a store or a company, it wouldn't have been that bad, because if you have a name of your company and you have a brick and mortar presence and you have a geographic market that you can say I do business in this area, even if someone else registers that trademark, you can still be in business. You just can't expand beyond your established market. But he had a blog. He didn't have a geographic market he could show I do business here, I'm in commerce here. So when Adecco registered that trademark, they basically shut him down. Had he kept using the name, he would have been committing trademark infringement, even though he was the first guy to come up with the idea. Now, Turner got really, really lucky. He basically, I think it was in Asia when this all started happening. He flew back to New York. He had lawyer friends. And he started with an open letter to Adecco explaining the situation. Because I don't think Adecco knew that the marketing company ripped off his blog for their contest idea. But he said, this is what happened. Because you did this, you shut me down. Do the right thing and, give up the trademark. And this was great. He called, apparently Adecco hired the marketing company for 50 grand. He told Adecco, pay me 50 grand because they ripped off my idea, and donate 50 grand to the charity I was working with when all this came down. And Adecco actually did all that. So kudos to them for doing the right thing. But they didn't have to. They could have been like, too bad, so sad, fuck off. And he would have just been shut down. And yeah, when I saw Turner's story, I immediately had red flags going off for all my friends who have cool blogs and video things, and I was like, everybody go register your trademarks now. Because in the internet world, if you don't have a geographic market, you can be shut down. And for anyone who cares, you can file your own trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. They have some tutorials. It's kind of complicated. You may want to at least hire a lawyer for a consultation if you can't afford to just hire them outright to do it for you. But if you want to do it yourself, the fee to file a trademark is $325. I know it's a little spendy. It's a lot of ramen, but I don't know what costs $325 these days, but that compared to having your whole blog shut down, which for this guy was his livelihood, I'd pay $325. So And his was, blog and video, but this also applies to podcasting. So, yeah, your take home is, especially if you're making money off what you're putting out there, register your trademark. I know it's expensive. For anyone who cares, I do free mentoring once a month at Gangplank and Chandler. If anyone wants to come talk about the trademarks, I will happily have that conversation. But yeah, if you want to make sure no one takes it away from you, go register it. Yeah, that's the Turner Bar story. Lil' Kim, this just came out like a couple of days ago. So apparently, Samantha, thank you. Pronunciation is hard. Is an artist, and she went on Reddit, and apparently Lil' Kim had just announced her new single, and her cover art looked really similar to this. And Samantha jumped on Reddit and went and basically called her out and said, "You stole my photo for your cover art." Now, probably was it her directly? No, it was her people. If they did it, which it'd be pretty hard for someone to say, "No, I came up with that all on my own. I didn't copy your stuff." Yes, you did. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I haven't seen how this is going to play out. This is like 3 days ago. So in copyright infringement situations, or in copyright, if you create something, you have the exclusive rights to copy, distribute, display, perform, etc., your work. So if somebody takes your work and either claims it as their own, or even just copies it onto their blog without your permission, that's copyright infringement most of the time, unless you qualify for an exception under the fair use rules. Which for this situation, so you have a fair use argument. So in the best case scenario for Samantha, she hopefully registered her copyright in her image. I doubt she did, but let's say she did. She could sue Lil' Kim for $150,000 plus attorney's fees.
That's for each use.
Yes, that is for each use. I'm guessing, and usually in what I've seen in a lot of these situations, I saw something similar happen with book covers, where an indie author hired an artist to create their cover art, and then a national publisher went to the same artist and said, "I really like what you did. We would like to use that same art for one of our books." And the artist said, "No, I don't want my art showing up on 2 different books. That's weird." And the publisher basically hired another artist to almost recreate the same thing. The similarities were so striking. It was like, we know what you did. And had the artist protected themselves, that would have been another situation where, yeah, no, you ripped off, you really did a rip-off, no original thought, 150 grand, if you do it right. Unfortunately, for most of us in the blogging internet world, we haven't set ourselves up properly to get that 150 grand, but artists, and especially photographers, are starting to do what they have to do to be set up for that situation. So
it's actually pretty cheap to copyright your stuff too.
It is cheap, it's only $35 a pop. Unfortunately, the way the law is written is if your work only appears on the internet, you have to register it before someone infringes to be eligible. It's really stupid. The law is not written fairly for us.
You're actually supposed to register it before you put it on the internet.
Yes, ideally, yes. So for people I would say like people who are like the oatmeal, who knows the second he puts something out there, he knows it's going to get put somewhere without his permission. The whole Funny Junk situation. If he wanted to be set up, I would tell him, before you put up a comic, go register it, then put it out there.
The really cool thing is, though, is the Copyright Office. I do this with my roller derby photos.
Uh-huh.
There's an easy, almost 200 photos in a batch.
Uh-huh.
It's $35 per batch, as long as it has the same copyright and watermark.
That is true. The challenge with that, because yeah, you can do a group registration as long as there's a reason for it to be together. You couldn't take every photo you've ever taken and put it in a batch.
It's only the same bout that I do.
Right. And so for people who do wedding photography and senior portraits, I say you can take, for each photo shoot, put them together and register it. Now here's the rub with that. So if someone infringes on one of your roller derby photos, let's say there was 100 in the batch, to make the math easier for me. You put 100 photos in a batch, you register it, and someone steals one photo. and you sue for copyright infringement, and you think you've set yourself up for the 150 grand. What you are actually claiming to the Copyright Office or to the court isn't that my photo was stolen. You're claiming 1% of what I'm claiming as one work was stolen. So if they applied a proportion, they would only give you 1% of the 150 grand. Versus had you registered each photo individually, it would be 150 grand per photo. So if 2 photos were stolen, it would be 300 grand, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, for artists, I always say, it's a balancing act. You want to save money up front, knowing that the amount you can recover later is probably going to be less, or spend more up front if someone infringes, you're going to get more in the long run. So, but yeah, you do bring up a good point. For people who want to do the batch registrations, it's like as many photos as you can upload in like an hour can be a batch, or something like that. So, all right, your takeaway from the Little Kim story. Get permission to use other people's work. Don't commit copyright infringement. Do not use Google Images to get photos. Creative Commons is my favorite place to get images. If there ever is an image that you want to use that is not available under Creative Commons, just email the artist. I do it all the time. No one has ever said no.
It's amazing because I do graphic design, so it's amazing how many marketing companies send a Google photo and they're like, use that for the, and I'm like, you can't do that.
And the best part is if you just ask permission, they usually don't ask you why.
Yeah.
This was great. And I was in law school. This is going to make me sound like a bad blogger. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Because he was saying about being positive, and I was the voice of validation in law school because a lot of us were not happy with the administration. Our dean was an ass. I should say he is an ass. He just doesn't work at the university anymore. But I would call him out on my blog. And apparently my classmates loved it, apparently the professors loved it, because I would call him out on the jerky things he was doing. But I needed a photo of him to go with the blog, because of course you never put out a blog without a photo. And I knew if I used the photo from like his bio from the school's website, that would be infringement, they'd shut it down. So, and I went to my classmates, I said, does anybody have a photo of the dean? And no one had a good one. So I went on Flickr, and I found one photo of him, and it was from like his past job, like the last school he worked at. And so I emailed the account owner and I said, I'm doing a blog post about this guy. May I please use your photo? I will use whatever attribution you'd like me to put on it, I will gladly do that. All true! And the guy was like, absolutely, here's your attribution. Thank you for asking permission and using our photo. Never asked why I was using the photo, so I just would shred this guy, and every time I just put the same photo up, and he couldn't stop me. It was very validating. Not just for me, for everybody else. So yeah, when in doubt, ask permission. The other lesson is do not fuck with the Redditors. Because this story came out on Reddit, and everyone was up in arms. So they are very opinionated, powerful, active people. So don't fuck with Reddit. All right. Lori Drew. You all know who this person is, but you may not know the name. Lori Drew is the mother that created the fake MySpace account and pretended to be a 14-year-old boy to befriend her daughter's ex-friend. And as this fake boy, she told Megan Muir to kill herself. And Megan did. Yeah, it was an awful situation. This story took place in Missouri. And Missouri law enforcement looked at it and went, was it criminal? Was what she did to the level that was, violated criminal law? And they said no. However, this happened on MySpace. MySpace servers were in California. California prosecutors looked at the situation and they charged her with hacking. Now, she got off, but there were 2 times that she could have been convicted for wrongdoing criminally for this situation. It's so tragic. But I bet when this mother was doing this, one, I bet she thought that this child wouldn't kill herself. That she could be charged in Missouri, or she definitely did not know that she could get charged in California. And it was I wasn't sure how that verdict was going to come out. And just because she got off doesn't mean that the next person who pulls a similar stunt, which hopefully no one does, but if they do, no guarantee that they will not be held responsible. So your lesson is, don't be a bully. Yeah, you can be arrested and convicted for what you post online. It does happen. Which actually is a situation that is currently playing out. Justin Carter, no relation to me. This is the guy who was on Facebook talking with his friend after they were playing some kind of online video game where he made a post about killing children, like going to a school and shooting kids. He lives in Texas. And he was arrested. He's 18 years old, so just barely an adult, probably not thinking like an adult. And after the statement, he wrote like LOL JK, so I would look at it and be like, this guy's a moron, but probably not a criminal, at least not for this. I don't know what else he's doing. But yeah, notice from the sheriff county, this is mugshot. He was arrested for making a terroristic threat. He sat in jail for weeks until someone bailed him out. This case is still ongoing. For something that, I'm sure, it was a joke, he wasn't thinking, he was just typing. Yeah, this guy could go to jail. And people have gone to jail for like making sarcastic remarks. This was a UK case. A guy who's like, the airport was having issues due to snow. And he tweeted something about like, you have like a week to figure this out or I'm blowing the place sky high. Yeah, he was arrested and convicted for making a terroristic threat. So your lesson is, that law enforcement has no discernible sense of humor. I've heard of a junior high girl being visited by the Secret Service at her school because of something she posted on MySpace where she was like, I don't know, it was some like variation of like a picture of then President George Bush, where she like put like kill Bush or like an X over his face or something. Like she's like 13 years old, but Secret Service showed up, so yeah, just don't joke about blowing things up or killing people this was interesting, that Texas case, the Justin Carter, I think it was somebody out of country that reported him to Texas police and that got him arrested, so like, yeah, it was like someone in like Canada or something like that got him busted, so your words have strong implications over long distances. All right. Oh, Amy's Baking Company. We all know Amy's Baking Company, right? But did we all see the episode of Kitchen Nightmares that was just awful? Wait, by awful, I mean awesome.
One of my favorites.
Come on. These guys are a train wreck. I really hope that the story about them getting another show isn't true. They were on Kitchen Nightmares. Gordon Ramsay walked out. And then everyone jumped on like Yelp and Facebook and the account that these guys apparently were responding with basically attacking their reader, attacking their commenters, and then they turned around and said, "Oh, we got hacked." Yeah, sure you did. They hired a PR company. There was going to be a press conference, and it got canceled. And the reason why the press conference got canceled was because the show's lawyers sent these guys a letter that reminded them that, remember, you signed a contract that says if you say any disparaging remarks about the show, each of you will be obligated to pay us $100,000. And I suspect, I can't prove, I suspect that the PR company knew we cannot let these guys have a press conference because they don't have the self-control to not say something disparaging about the show. Or that's just a risk we're not going to take. Amy's Baking Company. Read your contracts carefully. This is what you sign. And this also applies to your. Be careful when you sign up for a site when you don't read the terms of service. I mean, I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I never read the terms of service. I just check the box and move on. Those terms of service are a contract between you and the website. And as long as what they put in that terms of service is not illegal, it stands. The fact that you chose not to read it doesn't mean that you're not stuck with it. Just because it's funny, I got tired of getting emails from people offering me SEO services and offering to do guest posts and all the stuff I'm not interested in. That I put a terms of service on both of my sites that says if you solicit me for any of these services, you have expressed a willingness to pay me $100 for being annoying. Now, do I go after these people? Do I take them to small claim court? No. But do I send them an email? I got a canned response email that says, by the way. Oh yeah. So, okay, if you found me through my site, you're obligated. So, why not? If they do it twice, maybe I'll take it. No one's ever sent me another thing. So, I've had one person come back that wanted clarification. I was like, oh no. I don't care what you think I don't care what you think you're doing. This is what you're obligated to do. Now, does anyone pay? No. But do I think it's funny? Yes. And just a reminder, hey, people can write this shit in their terms of service. So I would write this into someone's terms of service. So, well, obviously I did. But I would do it for someone else too. So, yeah, contracts matter. All right, this is the last one. We're doing on time. I feel like I've been talking way too fast. Oh yeah, okay. Which is awesome, which means last part will be open for questions, or we just get done early. Yes. Revenge porn. We all know what this is, right? Okay, revenge porn is sometimes when a couple is together, they take intimate photos in their bedroom, photos or videos, and then when they break up, sometimes the photos end up on the internet without the consent of one of the parties. Possibly both, actually, depending on who put it out there. Yeah, this is bad. Yeah, you can't really tell in this photo that guy's naked. But, all right, so under the law, you have no expectations. Go for it.
Just kidding.
It's not full frontal. Sorry, he's turned the other way. I have a little bit of class. Emphasis on little. So you have no expectation of privacy in anything you do in public. So if you go to your public nude beach and take off your clothes, you have no expectation of privacy in anything and how you look naked. If someone wants to do a news story or a blog post or a whatever and talk about how you look naked, there's nothing you can do about it. At best, if they're making money off of it, there might be some kind of like commercialization of your image without permission. But just, if I want to do a blog post about the naked nude beach, public nude beach, I can. Take your clothes off in front of me. I might write about it. So that's public. You do have an expectation of privacy in your bedroom, doctor's offices, tanning beds, changing rooms. Now, if you have sex in public, yeah, no, that's not, no expectation of privacy. But bedroom, yeah, you do. And so you can't put your intimate photos and videos on the internet unless both people are okay with it. I'm surprised I have to actually explain this to people. I actually had a hit on my site, maybe earlier this spring, where someone asked, can I post a sex video on the internet without permission of a party? Yes! You have to ask permission before you put your sex videos on the internet. And it's been bad. There was a story last fall where it was a school teacher. It looked like her ex-boyfriend took the photos from their relationship and created a fake Facebook profile in her name using those photos. She didn't find out about it till, I think, parents of the students saw it, told the principal about it. She got called into the principal's office, was shown the Facebook profile and said, can you explain this? Her name, her naked body. Yeah, exactly! It's like, ugh, really? It's so awful. But it happens a lot. Now, we do have laws, thank God, in all 50 states about cyber harassment, so you could go after them criminally. The challenge is proving that the person you think posted the photos. Because they may say, hey, I didn't post it. If, my phone got stolen or I was hacked or you can prove it. You can go trace IP addresses and you could try to make a case. It's hard, but yeah, I would hope it would go without saying that if you can't handle the responsibility of taking intimate photos, don't do it. If you have them, if you're the keeper of the photos at the end of the relationship, don't post them. And ideally, if you're someone who wants to take those kind of photos, do it on your device. And then never, ever, ever let that device out of your control. Don't let your kids play with it. Don't let your buddy play with it. Don't be anywhere near Jeff Moriarty. Because if you leave a device unlocked around him, he will fuck with your shit. Which was awesome when he and Evo both worked at Sightwire, and Evo would walk away from his machine without locking it down. He would post weird stuff. Now, in all fairness, Jeff Moriarty, he would never post your intimate photos, but dang, you may have that friend who would be that cool to you. You know, never let it out of your sight, never let it out of your control, because once it gets in the hands of someone who doesn't like you, you can be fucked. And once those photos are out there, you have, you know, they take on a life of their own. Who knows if it's going to be reshared, downloaded, screenshotted. And so even if you get the original pulled down, that doesn't mean that every copy is now gone. So, scary. Okay, a few more thoughts. Just because you don't get in trouble because of something you posted does not mean you didn't do something wrong. In most of these cases, the only person that can come after you for doing something wrong is the person you harmed. So if they don't know that you've done something wrong, they won't come after you. If they don't care, they won't come after you. Or maybe they think if I don't respond and I just ignore them, that they will go away and find someone else to bother. So yeah, don't assume that I didn't get in trouble doesn't mean you were on the right side of the law. You know, I don't know if Obama's gay, but you know, I'm guessing he didn't respond to stuff like this because if he's dealing with this, he's not dealing with the agenda he's trying to push. All right. A couple of rules of thumb I give to everybody. Do not put anything on the internet that you wouldn't put on the front page of the newspaper. Some people say don't post anything that you wouldn't put on a billboard. If you're willing to own it in a public setting, most likely it's not against the law. Not always. Some people are very bold and will say crazy things, but in general, that keeps you mostly out of trouble. My other rule of thumb is assume that 4 people are going to see everything that you post online. Your best friend, your worst enemy, your boss, and your mother. Some people say also adding your spouse. So if you don't want those 4 or 5 people to see something you're thinking about posting, don't post it. Even with privacy settings, you never know who's going to reshare it or screenshot it or whatever. So yeah, unless you're willing to own it in every forum, regardless of what privacy settings you have on it when you first put it out there, just don't. Let's see. Again, shameless plug. I write about all this stuff in the ebook, The Legal Side of Blogging, How Not to Get Sued, Fired, Arrested, or Killed, on Amazon. Again, I wrote it in English for normal people. Oh, look, it's 4. We have 5 minutes to go. I said no more. So that's available, or if you want to reach me, this is where I am on social. Twitter is usually the best place to get me directly, but LinkedIn, Facebook work too. Yeah, I have an uncommon name. The other way to find me is dial direct, so email, phone, website. Yeah. So we have 5 minutes if anyone wants to ask any questions about anything for non-legal advice.
So with hashtags, I know people can't own them, or you know, there's a lot around that. Can you trademark them, or is there any kind of, you know, kind of make it yours? Or where is that going to go in the future?
Right. Can you trademark a hashtag? Because you can trademark a tagline, so I don't see why you couldn't trademark a hashtag. Now, usually with trademarks, once it's registered, you add the R in the circle. I don't know how you add that on a hashtag. Unless you have the hashtag, like open parenthesis, R, close parenthesis, which I'm like, you're wasting 3 free characters. True. So, you know, on Twitter, you may not want to do that. Yeah. But could somebody, unless the U.S. Trademark Office comes down with a ruling that just a flat thing that says, no, you can't trademark a hashtag, I don't see why you couldn't at least try. Especially if you're doing it on a company's dime. Awesome. So you can't copyright it. Way back in the day, Paris Hilton tried to copyright That's Hot.
Yeah,
to
yeah.
keep other people from ever using the phrase. You're never gonna win that one. Not a copyright, but maybe trademark.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes.
I was reading something or heard something, I can't remember exactly where, but about the legality or lack of legality of asking in a job interview situation for your social media passwords. I mean, for me, that would be, thank you very much, this interview officially ends.
Right. Oh, see, I would have had two choice words and walked out. So you're kinder than I am. I know Facebook has, as part of its terms of service, that you cannot give your password to anybody else. 4 states have passed laws that say you can't ask for someone's social media passwords. I have heard horror stories of employers not asking for the password, but saying, "Oh, do you have a Facebook page? Can I see it?" And they'll want you to log on right then and there. You haven't
That would
asked
end it too, by the way.
what?
That would end the interview too.
That would have been me too. For someone who wants to be maybe a little bit more, I don't want to say respectful, but show a little bit more decorum, don't want to necessarily end the interview, the response might be, "I'm a very private person. I only use that with family and friends. I'd rather not." Or you could lie and say, "I don't have one." But yeah, no, in general, you can't ask. And that's opening a whole can of worms, because there's a whole bunch of stuff you can't ask somebody about in an interview, like marital status, children, disability, religion, race, stuff like that. A lot of that stuff people put openly on like their Facebook page, and so if you see someone's Facebook page and then you don't hire them, they may be able to come back to the company with some type of discrimination claim saying, "You didn't hire me not because I'm not the best candidate, but because I have a disability or you saw my religion when you looked at my Facebook page." So some lawyers tell companies, don't ask, don't look, don't. But yeah, can they ask you? Well, can they? They can do anything they want. Should they? No. In certain states, it is illegal. Arizona has not passed such a law, but Facebook's terms of service say you can't give your password out.
Do you happen to know which for?
What? Not off the top of my head. Anybody else?
Oh, I have a question.
Sure.
I think I read are you seeing, because I read somewhere where Facebook is going to open it up to where you can't have all those privacy settings and all that. It's basically going to be a public forum. Are you seeing that more employers, or do you see a trend that maybe they're opening up to where that kind of sense of privacy is starting to get like weakened a little bit?
I know that every time Facebook's there have been times where Facebook has changed their privacy settings and everybody's default went to everything's public.
Right.
So, which is why I say I'll assume everything's public. But in terms of a shift in, I don't know. But yeah, just assume everything you post is public and that your boss is going to see it, regardless of regardless of who you think you're showing it to. All right. Well, I think that's it. Thanks all for coming. Thanks for being
No, I saw it on the floor. I figured you're going to step on it. It's hard.
Last night we were talking about the social networks. Basically, the invite.
Good to see you.
I'll email you then.
Yeah, there you go.
Have fun. You going tonight or?
No, I have to go to the ASU game with the law school.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Who are they playing tonight?
Oregon State.
At least I won't hear from Aaron about them beating us again.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Every time I watch your presentation, I learn so much. Because I work in HR, so I was
Oh.
hey, no. Don't do that.
Yeah, if they ever, I blog about these issues all the time, so if they need a resource or someone to bounce an idea off of, good to see you, sweetheart. Tell them.
Yeah, usually I say, here's my recommendation. I'm going to go consult with an attorney.
Yes, call the lawyers.
Because you don't want to listen to me. Obviously, you're pushing back.
That's yeah. No, they don't like it when you tell them no.
No, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's really sad when we get sued.
Yeah, and I don't want to be involved in that.
No.
Saying that I said it was okay.
No.
Thanks again.
So the four people that we have to assume they will see the post is the mother, the boss, the friend, and who?
Your worst enemy.
What's the name?
Yeah.
Great. Hello, Abby. How are you doing? $4.24? Oh yeah, I have to get out of this place, right? Thanks very much. I'm getting out of this place and getting into the bus. Okay.